Good evening to all of you at the Slovak camp meeting. I also greet the friends on the Zoom. I work in a hospital as a laborant. And I study the special education in allergology and clinical immunology. I would like to share with you what I have learned about the immunity system. So, immunity is the defense system of our body. It has ability to recognize and eliminate the foreign cells, such as bacteria, viruses, yeast, fungi, or parasites. And it's also used at destroying the tumor cells. The basics of immunity are given during embryonic development. We have immunity that is innate and acquired. And a newborn baby already has all the parts of innate immunity. The acquired one develops after the birth. Antibodies begin to develop during pregnancy. And after the birth, the newborns are protected by antibodies from their mothers. The breastfeeding is also very important because the breast milk contains components that improve the base. It contains not only the basic nutrition, but it also contains components that improve the function of the immune system. The means of the how the child is born is also important. Uh, if the birth is natural, it gains the microbiotic from the mom. The immune system goes through the changes during life. And older people are more susceptible to develop infectious and autoimmune diseases. So, what cells of immune system do we have? The immune system is produced in the bone marrow. And the basic cells of immune system are leukocytes, the white blood cells. So we have cells of innate immunity and to tam nemáš to tam napísané. And acquired immunity. They are drawn here. That's neutrophils, eosinophils, basophils, monocytes, and NK cells, which are natural killers. What? Dendrites and macrophages. And then there are cells of acquired immunity, which are, which ones? Ktoré to boli? The T and B lymphocytes. The immune system has 3 lines of protection. When I first was learning about it, it was reminding me of the great controversy. Because on one side we have like soldiers for the immune system. And on the outside we have all types of enemies like microbians. And we also have internal enemies. So what is the first line of defense? So it's mechanical barriers like skin, mucous membranes, ciliated epithelium. Chemical barriers, that's low pH. That's stomach acid, in stomach acid. And lysozyme, that's an enzyme in tears, saliva, and mucus. And biological barriers, there are natural microbiotes. The second line of defense, that's cells of an innate immunity. And this defense is fast and same for all pathogens. The main defense is phagocytosis. And that works in such a way that the immunity cell like eats the bacterial cell and destroys it. So here are, for example, macrophages, neutrophils, and dendritic cells. The next type of defense is inflammation. It's a local response to infection or injury. You know, when you injure yourself, that place gets red and it's swallowed and it pains, and it also increases in temperature. At this point, the leukocytes start to work. They are attracted to a place where there is an infection. They have ability that they can shape and pass through small pores in the walls of capillaries and from the blood into tissues. Then there are natural killer cells. They destroy infected and tumor cells. Then there is a third line of defense. And that is the defense of acquired immunity. And that reacts slowlier, but specifically to specific pathogens. It reacts within 3 or 4 days. And that is because it has an immune memory. And when there is a repeated, when it meets repeatedly the antigen, it reacts faster and more strongly. You know that when you get some virus, the first couple of days you're feeling bad. And from the 4th day on, you start to get better. Because what comes is the acquired immunity. And it reacts on the innate immunity. And that works in such a way that when those macrophages eat these microorganism, they build small fragments on the surface of this microorganism. And now the lymphocytes came. How do I say it? And the reaction begins. How do I say lymphocyte? Lymphocyte. And helping lymphocytes gives a signal to the toxic lymphocyte and B lymphocyte. The cytotoxic lymphocyte fights against the viruses and the tumor cells. And the B lymphocyte starts to produce the antigens? No? Antibodies. Then there are T regulatory lymphocytes. They regulate the intensity of immune responses and suppress unwanted immune reactions. And most of these unwanted reactions flow through the lymphatic system. For that, things that belong there are like the bone marrow, the thymus, lymph nodes, the spleen, and mucosal lymphoid tissue. It helps to transport white blood cells, and it removes the waste products from the body. And in time, the T lymphocytes are learning. 98% do not pass at this testing. And only 2% travel to the lymph nodes, where they communicate with other cells. And they give signals to one another. The way it works, that dendritic cell that recognize, čo rozpoznala? The antigen, and then it ate the antigen, broke it apart, and like pushed it out on the surface. And offered it to T lymphocytes. And that's how the cell immunity was like sprung. And the cells started to multiply so that they can fight against the microorganisms. And it starts to create antibodies. So from the fourth day, the defense is much stronger. One of the most important and the highest in prevention of medical intervention is vaccination. It protects the individuals from serious infections like measles, tetanus, or whooping cough or black cough. And it ensures the herd immunity. It protects those who cannot be vaccinated. It reduces the incidence and the spread of disease. And some of the diseases have been completely eradicated, like smallpox. And also it saves the healthcare costs. It promotes public health. and it's an important tool in epidemics and pandemics. In the last century, the number of serious infectious diseases was decreased at, almost to the zero, thankfully to the hygiene and vaccination. But on the other side, there was an increase of um, um, there was an increase of um, like problems of the immune system, or that it doesn't work properly. One of the problems poruchu, neviem, of immune system is immune deficiency, that is weakened immunity. They can be either innate, when the child is not able to produce the antibodies, or it produces not enough of antibodies. And these children are often sick from infectious diseases. And then there are acquired immunodeficiencies. And one of them is, for example, AIDS. Another immunological problem is autoimmunity, where the immune system attacks the body's own cell. The way it works, that in our body there would be some infection like COVID. Immune system dealt with it. But those T lymphocytes keep attacking, and they attack their own cells because they have similar structures like the viruses. And here the T regulatory lymphocytes don't work properly. This is called antigens mimicry. The autoimmune diseases are more spread among women, and it's connected to hormonal changes. Women have stronger immune system than men due to pregnancy and breastfeeding. Women respond better to the vaccination, and they defend better against infections. But on the other side, the autoimmune reactions, they have stronger. The next malfunction of immune system are allergies. Ja neviem, čo to je. So the immune system reacts to harmless substances. And it's probable that immune system of a child didn't get on time the I don't know. Okay. The child was living in a sterile environment and didn't have enough contact with the nature or animals. And then there are immune tumors. And that's uncontrolled proliferation of immune cells. So, for example, that's leukemia. Leukemia. Thank you. Asi to mám hovor. Už to mám. Už to mám, Ben, môžeš čítať. Mám to tu.
V posledních letech se k léčbě využívají monoklonální protilátky.
In the last 10 to 20 years, monoclonal antibodies have been used for treatment. They treat some autoimmune diseases, some tumors, and leukemia. The way they work, they hinder. To tu nemáš. Here is T lymphocyte and here is tumor cell. and there is T regulatory lymphocyte between them, and it doesn't work very well. And it hinders the lymphocytes to attack the tumor cells. And the monoclonal antibody, what does it do? Unblocks the T regulatory lymphocyte. And T lymphocyte can now attack the tumor cells. Máš to tu. For this, therapy has been awarded the Nobel Prize. Factors affecting the immune system. There is genetic predisposition, gut microbiome, lifestyle and environment, infection, stress, hormones, and age. So we will stop at the microbiome. The microbiota is the collection of all microorganisms, like bacteria, viruses, fungi, living in our human body, mainly in the intestines. The microbiome includes the microbiota and its genetic information. The intestine contains an incredible 10 to 14 bacteria. It's up to 2,000 bacterial species, and it weighs approximately 2 kilograms. It is involved in the digestion, production of vitamins like K, B12, and it's a protection against pathogens. What is important are probiotics, probiotics supplement beneficial bacteria and nourish them. Probiotics are live organisms such as lactobacills or bifidobacteria, and they contribute to the balance of the intestinal microbiota. They support the immune system and digestion, reduce inflammation. Here is, for example, yogurt, sauerkraut, fermented vegetables. Then there's prebiotics. That's indigestible food components, such as fiber. They serve as food for beneficial bacteria and a substrate for probiotics. Here's fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. The highest amount of prebiotic fiber is found in garlic, onions, and leeks. An imbalance in the microbiome of is called dysbiosis. It can lead to inflammation, obesity, allergies, autoimmune disorders, and mental health issues. Maybe you have heard of leaky gut syndrome. This problem affects most of the population. The healthy mucosa is closed. The epithelial cells are close to one another. And they separate the content of the intestine from the blood. When the intestine is disrupted, the epithelials go away from one another. And the bacteria and the content of the intestines go outside of the intestine. And that's how inflammation happens. That's why it's important that we take care of the microbiome well. That we do not bring the inflammation disease upon us. A healthy microbiome is essential for the intestine to close. The good bacteria produce a substance called butyrate. Um, it helps the like the it closes the holes. Scientists call the gut microbiome the second brain because it affects the function of the entire body. Microbiome has a significant effect upon our psyche. The gut contains an extensive structure of neurons. That forms an enteric nervous system. And it contains approximately 100 million neurons, similar to the spinal cord. There is a two-way communication between our brain and intestines. 90% of information goes from the intestines to the brain, and 10% from the brain to the intestines. The communication takes place primarily through the vagus nerve. The microbiome produces various neurotransmitters and hormones, like serotonin, known as the hormone of happiness and good mood, and that is produced in the intestine in 95%. Or melatonin, that is produced during the night and regulates the circadian rhythm. And then dopamine. It affects motivation, reward, pleasure, attention. Then there's gamma aminobutyric acid. And it suppresses nerve activity and induces calmness and relaxation. Reduces stress and anxiety and promotes sleep. This biases is associated with depression, anxiety. A healthy microbiome is the foundation of our health. Now it will be more simple. Our diet has the greatest impact on the gut microbiome. So especially its fiber that's prebiotic. It's in vegetables and fruits. They are source of vitamins, antioxidants, and they reduce inflammation. Zinc and selenium are key for immunity. And whole grains, they nourish beneficial bacteria. In legumes, there's protein, iron, vitamin B, magnesium. The nuts and seeds, that's healthy fats. They contain omega-3 acids. They support immunity and the nervous system. Also, fermented foods are very important, like sauerkraut, miso. They strengthen microbial diversity. More than 100 years ago, we were warned against eating meat for health, ethical, and environmental reasons. Today's scientists, doctors, and nutritionists Warn against eating highly processed foods. Highly processed foods are associated with a number of health risks. These are foods that went through a lot of steps while being processed, and they contain very few original ingredients. They contain artificial additives like colors, preservatives, or flavorings, sugars, salts, and unhealthy fats. They are low in fiber, vitamins, and antioxidants. And they negatively affect the microbiome and promote inflammation and insulin resistance. They increase the risk of obesity, type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular and autoimmune diseases. The frequent consumption is associated with poorer mood, fatigue, and a food addiction. The ultra-processed foods are industrial sweets, cookies, cakes, ice cream, sweetened beverages, energy drinks, instant soups and ready meals, industrially produced cereals, things like sausages, salami, and canned meat, fast foods like hamburgers, fries, and pizzas, salty snacks and chips, flavored yogurts, desserts, powdered cheese. Mhm. How can we influence our microbiome? It's a movement that strengthens immunity. It activates the immune cells and decreases inflammation. Um, it improves the composition and diversity of the gut microbiome. It reduces stress. It protects against infections and lifestyle diseases. The excessive stress can weaken immunity. So we are recommended to have at least 30 minutes of exercise a day. Next important thing for the good working of microbiome is sleep. It strengthens immunity. During the sleep, there is the immune cells are renewed. So the immune system is weakened when we don't sleep enough. it increases susceptibility to infections and slows down healing. The quality sleep affects the balance of intestinal bacteria. I was listening to one scientist who is professional on sleep and light. And he was saying it's very important to go to sleep at the same time and get up at the same time. Best from 10 to 6. So that we are able to wake up without an alarm clock. And to be able to do this, we should prepare hour and a half before sleep. Put away the computers and phones, that we only relax. And he was talking about how the light is spread within the apartment. You should have yellow light about hour and a half before sleep. And we should put it somewhere lower, like on a smaller table or on the floor. That should, it's like a signal for the body, like when the sun goes down. And the body naturally gets tired and falls asleep better. The next important thing is relaxation. It reduces the stress hormone like cortisol. It improves immune cell function, reduces inflammatory responses. It supports microbiome balance. So we have less pathogens and more beneficial bacteria. So the relaxation would be meditation, breathing exercise, peaceful walking. And it promotes mental and physical resilience. Next important thing is sunlight. It supports the production of vitamin D. It strengthens immunity and reduces inflammation. It's important for bones, muscles, and nerves. It helps to prevent osteoporosis and has anti-inflammatory effect. When there's not enough sunshine, it's good to supplement with vitamin D3. Cholecalciferol. Co tu máš? Co tu je? Okay, it promotes microbiome balance and mucosal defense. It helps prevent autoimmune diseases. Excessive sun can weaken immunity and increase the risk of skin cancer. So to be in the sunshine shortly is beneficial, but to be exposed for a long time is harmful. The last important part is hardening. It activates innate immunity. It reduces inflammatory markers, improves resistance to infections. It reduces stress. Okay. And it supports diversity of the gut microbiome. The regular cold exposure strengthens immunity, reduces inflammation, and contributes to a healthy microbiome. In closing, I want to read a text from the Bible. So whatever you eat or drink or whatever you do, do it all for the glory of God. And quotation from Ellen White. It was shown to me that health reform is part of the Free Angels messages and that it is as closely connected with it as the arm is to the body. Amen. Thank you for attention. I wish you a nice evening.